Hello class, welcome to Miss Davis's 10th grade world history class. Today we will learn about World War I. First of all, I want to ask you all a question. Was World War I necessary and was it important? Feel free to write your answer down on a piece of paper and save it for later. There are no wrong answers here. First of all, what was World War I and why did it start? World War I was a 4-year military conflict between some of the world's biggest powers. World War I was the first war that included different nations. The war was started by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife, Sophia. During World War I, there were two opposing alliances, or you could even call them teams. The Allies team included Russia, France, the British Empire, Italy, the United States, Japan, Romania, Siberia, Belgium, Greece, Portugal, and Montenegro. The Central Powers team included Germany, Austria-Hungary, Turkey, and Bulgaria. As you can clearly see, the Allies team would have a bigger team than the Central Powers team. If this was a basketball game during second block, whose team would you want to be on? Most of World War I was fought in trenches, and most of the time it is referred to as trench warfare. Trenches are big zigzag-shaped holes in the ground. Most of the time, soldiers spent about 8 days in the trenches at a time. The trenches were good because they protected soldiers, but bad because they were unclean and the cause of most infections, such as trench foot. Having trench foot could cause you to lose your limb, especially your feet. Therefore, the name trench foot. Here's another question for you. Do you think you could live in a trench for 8 days? Write your answer down on a piece of paper. I honestly do not think I could live in a trench for that long. Here is a random fact. One Christmas, soldiers called a short truce called the Christmas truce. Both teams got out of their trenches and hung out together singing Christmas carols. World War I was originally supposed to be the war to end all wars, but obviously that was not true. World War I, or also called the Great War, actually created more damage than what it fixed. Over 15 million people were killed. 13.3% of France's male population was wiped out by the war itself. The war was so very dangerous because there was so much new technology, but people were using outdated techniques. Barbed wire and machine guns were two new weapons that were very destructive. Also, illness and lack of medication claimed a lot of deaths as well. Dysentery and influenza, or the flu, were two leading causes of death. It's crazy for some of us to think about people dying from the flu, but keep in mind, during World War I, you could not simply walk to Walgreens and get a flu shot or some Tamiflu. Also, we cannot forget about gangrene. Gangrene is an infection that attacks limbs. A simple cut infected by gangrene could cost the soldier a limb. So therefore, World War I was definitely put an impact on our lives. However, it might not have been necessary.